The Origins and Evolution of Prostitution, Episode 2, Power, Survival, and Stigma. In the vast expanse of history, prostitution has often been more than a profession. It has been a means of survival, a source of power, and a lightning rod for societal stigma. Beyond the broad narratives of temples, brothels, and legal systems lie the intimate and complex lives of the individuals who have lived this reality. Throughout history, sex workers have occupied a paradoxical position, both empowered and exploited. For some, the profession offered a unique form of agency. Courtesans in ancient India, for example, were highly skilled in the arts, politics, and literature, wielding influence over the elite. The tawaifs of Mughal India were not only performers but also cultural icons who could engage in discussions with rulers and poets alike. These women had access to resources and independence unavailable to many others. However, for others, prostitution was a desperate measure taken to escape poverty, war, or abandonment. During the Industrial Revolution, urbanization led to an explosion of poverty-stricken women entering the trade, often under exploitative conditions. Brothels became havens and traps, offering shelter but binding women to lives they rarely controlled. The societal stigma surrounding prostitution has been a constant, shaping how sex workers are perceived and treated. In medieval Europe, prostitutes were simultaneously vilified and tolerated. Cities would designate red light districts where they could operate freely, but these women were barred from respectable society. In the Victorian era, the stigma intensified. Prostitution became a moral issue, with sex workers branded as fallen women. Reformers often tried to rescue them, but these efforts were laced with judgment and rarely addressed the systemic issues that led women to sex work in the first place. In some cultures, however, prostitutes were revered. In parts of ancient Japan, Oiran courtesans held prestigious roles, blending artistry and companionship into a respected profession. This cultural acceptance starkly contrasts the shame imposed in other societies. Sex work has been closely tied to survival during times of upheaval. Wars and economic crises have historically increased the number of women turning to prostitution. During World War II, the phenomenon of comfort women emerged, as women from occupied territories were forced into sexual slavery by Imperial Japanese forces. In post-war economies, prostitution often surged as displaced women sought ways to rebuild their lives. The growth of urban centers and industrial economies created both new opportunities and vulnerabilities for sex workers. The modern era has brought significant changes to sex work, challenging long-standing narratives of stigma and victimization. The rise of sex worker-led movements has shifted the conversation toward autonomy and rights. Organizations advocating for the decriminalization of sex work argue that empowering sex workers through legal protections and social support reduces harm and exploitation. The internet has become a powerful tool for sex workers, allowing them to operate independently and safely. Online platforms offer a way to connect with clients, share experiences, and advocate for their rights. Yet, the digital age also brings challenges such as privacy concerns, online harassment, and the removal of platforms due to shifting legal landscapes. Beneath the historical and economic narratives lie the emotional realities of sex workers. Stories of camaraderie, resilience, and even joy emerge alongside tales of exploitation and pain. Many have spoken of the strength found in communities of sex workers, who often provide support and understanding that outsiders cannot. The complex interplay of survival, stigma, and power continues to shape the lives of sex workers today. By exploring these narratives, we gain a deeper understanding of a profession that has endured for millennia, forcing us to confront our own perceptions of morality, agency, and human dignity. As history progresses, the role of sex workers in society continues to evolve. From being sacred figures in temples to marginalized members of society, their stories reflect the shifting values and hypocrisies of the cultures they inhabit. By shedding light on these nuanced histories, we can move closer to a world that respects and values the dignity of all individuals, regardless of their profession. Episode 3 might delve deeper into the intersection of law and morality, exploring how governments and societies have attempted to regulate or eradicate prostitution and the unintended consequences of these efforts. Thanks for watching Episode 2, Power, Survival, and Stigma. Part 2 of a multi-part web-based mini-series called The Origins and Evolution of Prostitution. Enjoy the video? Take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for access to Episode 3 and other future releases.